everybody, and welcome to Sports Take New Year's Eve edition. It is kind of J and J today, I guess you could say, based on the fact that we're missing Johnny and Nick. But we want to be the first to wish you guys a very happy New Year 2021 right around the corner. Hope everybody had a great, safe, and healthy Christmas Eve. It's just me and you, John. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing good. This is new. I think this is the first time we've had just us two on here.
It is. It's a little different today. Everybody's busy with the holidays. Everybody's busy,
Oh, I
trying to
know.
figure out New Year's Eve. But as we say every week on the show, hope everybody stays safe and healthy. But we do have some sports to talk about. Lots gone on the past week. NBA is back. The NHL's getting ready. A lot of playoff scenarios for
A
football
lot.
coming up this week. But we do want to start with the interesting fact of the day. And it's not only a normal day today. It's actually a big birthday day. LeBron James, he turns 36 years old, which we were talking before we went live. He's 36. He's only 6 years older than us.
That's crazy. You would think he was like 50 or something.
He's been around a
The
while.
fact that he's been in for so long.
Yeah.
But then you
He
think
got
we're
drafted.
also getting up there too.
Yep. Drafted 2003. He's been in the league 17, coming up on 18
That's
years.
crazy. I remember that too, and all the issues with coming straight out of high school, and
Yeah.
so that was crazy.
Yep. Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is 45 years old today.
Gosh, he's
Which
been
I
playing
thought,
for so long too.
I know he's been playing since he was a teen. I mean, you see footage of him on late night television as a kid, just 30,
Right.
40 years ago, and then now he's in his mid 40s. And Sandy Koufax, the great Dodger pitcher, he is 85 today. So we have a little
That's
bit of
crazy.
a little bit of young. And also, I do have to throw in my future mother-in-law's birthday as well, Beth. Happy birthday. So it's Beth, it's LeBron, it's Tiger, it's Sandy Koufax. It's a lot of different birthdays today to round out the year, the day before New Year's Eve. But we don't have any trivia today for you guys. We're just going to dive right into sports. We do have to talk NFL, though. We have to start with the NFL. We have to start about the craziness with the NFL. Now, we're not doing just pick 'em just yet. We're going to do that towards the end of the show. However, week 16, a lot of weird results because the Jets win to start.
That was crazy.
So the Browns.
Nobody expected that to happen.
No. The Browns had a chance to clinch a playoff spot. First time in like 18 years, and they choked. Now they have to go on the road to Pittsburgh in week 17 and win in order to clinch playoff, or they can get help with the Colts.
And I think like Baltimore has to lose or something ridiculous. But at least in their favor, it's only one of those teams. There's like three teams that have at least one of them has to lose or something like that.
Right now, I think Indy is on the outside looking in for the AFC. And on the NFC, you have a bunch of teams on the outside. You have the Cardinals, and again, the NFC East, which you have Giants and Cowboys. Right now, Washington football team is in the seat for the 4 seed to win that division. But, I mean, you look at the AFC, though, Kansas City is number 1. They clinched the number 1 seed. The AFC goes through Arrowhead. They're 14-1. They're probably going to rest their starters next week. They have nothing to play for. Then you have the 2 seed, which gets interesting because 2 seed right now is Buffalo.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which Buffalo
That
out
is
of nowhere.
crazy.
But congrats to Buffalo. They won the AFC East. They had 12-win season at least, maybe 13 next week, and they destroyed the Patriots on Monday Night Football. They destroyed us. They are clearly the best team in the AFC East right now, maybe for years to come. The Patriots, I just want to throw them in real quick because their season's been done for a couple weeks. I'm wearing a new sweatshirt from Santa, and they're terrible. The Patriots are terrible. Just restart, rebuild, whatever you want to say.
I think they're almost comparable to the Eagles right now with their struggles. I mean, there's so many aspects to that.
Right.
You can't even count Newton as the problem, just like you can't count Wentz as the problem.
Right.
You have so many issues there.
Right. I mean, it's unbelievable based on the fact that they have so many issues, but where do you start? I know people can look at the quarterback because the team runs through the quarterback. You have a good quarterback, you have a good team, typically. But we're missing a lot of receivers. We barely have tight ends. Half of our defense sat out this year. And it's a lot of rebuild, just like your Eagles. Your Eagles were eliminated last week to the Dallas Cowboys for playoff contention. They're the only team out of the NFC East to be out of the running this
right
last week.
now.
Right. And then the Giants play the Cowboys. The winner of that game has a better shot because they're all waiting around for Sunday night. Sunday night game, your Eagles host the Washington football team.
I think that's great. I think that's exciting to see because that game is going to determine who wins the NFC East. It doesn't matter about the Cowboys or Giants. Obviously, whoever loses that is out too.
Right.
But the Washington game is what determines whether Washington wins or the winner of the Giants-Cowboys game. So,
right. So if I'm a Giants fan, if I'm a Cowboys fan, I am watching Sunday night like crazy.
Right.
But of course, the loser of that game, you'll know 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock, whatever time. I have the schedule right here. They flexed a lot of games to 4 o'clock, and right now the Dallas at New York is 1 o'clock. So that is staying a 1 o'clock game. So they have to wait around for 5 hours, 6 hours to see what they're.
They probably did that on purpose too. They probably made them wait to see what happens and make the Redskins really figure out what they got to do.
Right.
Like, oh, now we're going to play the Giants, or nope, we're going to play the Cowboys.
Yeah, exactly. We have a couple comments. Thank you, Tommy. We see your comments. Go Chargers. Well, to start off, Tommy, Chargers not very good this year, but very bright future when it comes to Justin Herbert. Eagles have a lot to rebuild. Cox is being out. Looks like defense will go downhill during the Cowboys game. Yeah, you got John. Eagles gave up 37 points to Cowboys?
Oh my God, they did so well in the first quarter, and they struggled a little bit in the second quarter, but they kept the points up, and then they just, as if everybody just decided they didn't want to play, and it was just bad, so bad.
Yeah, and I watched the highlights. I didn't see the game live, but Dallas is clicking on all cylinders right now too. I'm not going to give all the blame to the Eagles because the Cowboys showed up when they had.
They definitely did. They were really good in the backfield, really good coverage.
Right.
Really paid attention to Hurts and watched him and prevented him from making big plays. Although I wish they had used Jackson more than just that one single play, because that's all he can really do.
He has 5 80-yard touchdowns in his career, which is like tied for
crazy.
So he's got the speed, he's got the distance,
but they don't use him, and he was healthy. And you know that no one's going to stop him.
Exactly. You think they would have used him a little bit more in the passing game. I mean, Jalen Hurts can only do so much. Again, he's a rookie. He is learning. It was his first big divisional game. This was, if Eagles win, they're in contention, and the winner of Washington and the Eagles Sunday night would win that division. But now the Eagles are just playing spoiler. Tommy said if you can stop Washington's pass game, then you got it. And that's true.
Because that's what happened in the Carolina game. They just stopped them dead in their tracks. They couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason they won, and they picked them off. They forced all the fumbles. I mean, the only thing the Eagles really got going for them is their defense. And that's not really saying much, but it's the best they got right now. So if they can stop them on defense, then Hurts can hopefully do something and, beat them.
Right. I mean, with Washington, you just released Dwayne Haskins. That was a big story this week, I should say, that the Washington football team is down to Alex Smith, and they are down to another no-name. I can't remember his name, but he's backup now.
They pulled him off the practice squad.
Right. And it's I don't know if Washington has enough. I mean, even if Washington wins this game against the Eagles, they win the 4 seed. Right now, Tampa Bay Raiders are the 5 seed. I wouldn't want to play Tampa, who just put up 47 against Detroit last week.
No, not at all. Because, I mean, the whole NFC East is just like the bottom tier of the entire NFL. Right. I mean, you're not really getting a quality playoff team coming into this. And they're not going to – they might put up a fight. I think the Cowboys might have the best fighting chance, but they're not going to win. No. And the Giants aren't going to win. And the Washington, after getting practically blown out last week, is definitely not going to win.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny based on the fact that for Washington, they might win the division at 7-9. You look at Cowboys and the Giants game. If the Cowboys win, they're going to be 7-9. And then the Giants, if they win and Washington loses, Giants will be in at 6-10.
It'd be like, what is it like? I think I heard something like the third or fourth time in history that a sub 500 team has made it to the playoffs.
Yeah, but usually that sub 500 team is 7-9. I don't remember ever seeing a double-digit loss team getting in the playoffs. That's 6-10, and if Giants win the division, they're gonna be 6-10. I actually found something interesting earlier, and I took a picture of it because I couldn't believe the stat. The three teams in the NFC East started off 2-7, who are in the running right now. They're 2-7. Apparently, no team has ever made the playoffs after they started 2-7. Now the streak will be snapped, and 258 teams have started 2-7 and have never made the playoffs.
That's insane.
Now a team is going to be 1-258 or 1-260 because the other two teams are not going to get in. And it's mind blowing. You're 5 games below.
Insane.
You lose 5 more games and you win halfway through the season, and you're going to make playoffs. That's how bad this division is.
That's like saying the Jets winning, their last 4 games and somehow making it into the playoffs. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Right. I do want to get to Tommy's question real quick. Appreciate the comments. Is it actually bad for the Jets because they've won a couple games? That kicks them out of having the first pick. Do you think it makes a difference? Jaguars officially do have the first overall pick in the draft. So is that bad that Jets are winning?
Well, I don't know. So they fired their head coach, and now they have – I don't know what's going to come about that.
Who fired their coach?
Or they're looking – sorry, they didn't fire. They're looking to fire them. Sorry, my bad. They're looking to fire him.
Yep.
And so if they get rid of him, maybe that can change it around. But the Jets as a whole, they don't really have the team to set up for Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
Miami is a way better option, or Jaguars is a way better option. They're not that great. They're not much better than the Jets, but I think they have a way better setup that he would excel in, because that's the problem with these, the draft, all these top name players, they go to the terrible teams.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield kind of got lucky going to the Browns. They kind of turned things around. He got a little lucky. Yep. But I highly doubt that the Jets are going to turn it around next year. And having Trevor Lawrence, he's just going to go into a severely unsuccessful program, and he's not going to get any better. That's the bad thing about being, the best in college football, is you're going to go to the worst team in the league, and you're not going to really go anywhere for the most part.
Oh, I'm muted. Was I muted this whole time?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, that's weird.
It was just recent.
If I'm Trevor Lawrence, I may stay in college. And the reason I do is because I'm dominant in college.
That's true.
If I'm Trevor Lawrence, I have one loss to the national championship game last year, to LSU, and he's got another chance to win another national title this year.
Plus a Heisman Trophy opportunity too.
Yeah, he's a Heisman finalist. So if I don't know if I want to rebuild. I know high in the draft pick, you are rebuilding no matter where you go. I get
right.
Miami, they are going to luck out because they get Houston's pick. Houston's terrible this year, and Houston's top 5 pick. So Dolphins maybe make playoffs this year, but still get a top 5 pick. It hasn't happened in 20 years that this happened.
Right.
With Trevor Lawrence, though, he's got a good thing going on, and he has one more year of eligibility at Clemson. I may stay. I know you chance.
That helps their program out.
Yeah, and I know you
chance relevant.
And I know you're good for the brand. You want to get paid. You want to get those millions. And you want to say there's only 32 starting positions in the NFL. In this entire world, there's only 32 of those starting QB jobs. And if he can get one of them, that's high praise. But at the same time, I don't know if going to a situation like Jacksonville, which has only had one relevant year when they went to the AFC Championship a couple years ago, is a good spot. Or the New York Jets, even, who haven't been relevant in I don't know how long. And it's a tough spot for him. I'm sure he'll make the best decision. If he declares for the draft, we know he's going to go 1. Jacksonville can't screw that up, can
No,
they? I mean,
they shouldn't. I mean, who do they have? They don't have anybody.
Minshew. I mean,
Yeah,
they have Mike Glennon. I mean, they have these travel guys that have been around the league, and it's a matter of getting your franchise quarterback, and that's what the Patriots are looking at. I mean,
right.
we may draft high. We're drafting 14, I believe, in the draft.
And I mean, that's what we're trying to figure out in Philly. Yeah. I mean, it's going to happen no matter what. I just don't think the Jets is a good place for him.
Right.
No, looking at it from his side.
Right. I mean, Jets haven't been relevant in 10 years. I mean, when they made that AFC Championship run, and they haven't been to a Super Bowl 40 years. I mean,
yeah, it's crazy.
In a New York team, you have high expectations, kind of like Philly fans, kind of like Boston fans. New York has high praise, but just New York teams have been terrible lately.
Oh, I know.
The past 30 years. Giants have had a couple Super Bowls, but the Knicks, the Nets, the Jets, they got a Buffalo. It seems like their best New York team, and go figure. It's Buffalo, but because Buffalo hasn't been relevant in 20 years when they lost 4 straight Super Bowls. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens come the draft. The draft will be very interesting. But
it will be.
But at the same time, you look real quick at the playoff seedings right now. AFC, Kansas City, Buffalo. If they win, they're number 2 seed. They host a 7 seed, which right now I believe is the Cleveland Browns. So that would be an interesting matchup. Buffalo and Cleveland, who haven't made playoffs forever.
It's a weird thought to think, but that would be fun to watch.
Yeah, it would be.
As long as Cleveland doesn't play like they did last week.
I know.
That would be a fun game to watch.
There's a lot of pressure on Cleveland to get this right.
It really is. I mean, there's a lot going on with these playoffs that is just so up in the air. And the fact that we have teams like Cleveland potentially being in there and Buffalo finally being in there, like you never would have thought that they'd be relevant or that they would be the top pick to choose to win a game.
Right. Exactly. And Tommy commented, what's your opinions on the Steelers losing the last few? You put total blame on Ben. You can't put totally the blame on Ben based on the receivers are dropping a lot of balls. The defense isn't playing as well as they did. And it's Big Ben sitting this week. So now Mason Rudolph is going to start for the Steelers because they have nothing to play for. The only thing the Steelers were going to play for was the 2 seed. But based on head-to-head, they lost to Buffalo, so I don't know even if they can get the 2 seed. But it's last time Mason Rudolph and Steelers played Cleveland was that Myles Garrett helmet, the helmet across the face on national TV.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and so hopefully there's no bad blood there. There's a lot to play for Cleveland if they can keep their head on straight. If they win, they're in. And they didn't get to close out last week against the Jets. Let's see how they do on the road against Pittsburgh. But you look at the 4-5 matchup too, potentially Tennessee and Baltimore. Or Tennessee and Miami, I should say. Tennessee and Miami.
Yeah, I was going to say Tennessee and Miami.
Based on the fact that Ryan Tannehill, his current team versus his former team, that'd be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be an exciting game.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of exciting games that are – if the playoff picture stays the way that it is right now, it's really going to be fun to watch. Probably other than the Saints-Bears game or the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game. I don't think those are going to be all that great. But the rest of them are very even – and also the Tampa Bay-Washington game, if Washington makes it in.
Right.
Other than those 3 games, I think the playoffs are going to be super exciting, at least in the first round before Kansas and Green Bay come into play.
Right,
but
absolutely. Yeah.
It's going to be fun to watch. And, I think both Kansas and Green Bay have a chance to – well, maybe not so much Green Bay, but Kansas has a chance to even lose in the playoffs. Yeah, looking back at some of their close games. I mean, you saw last week they only won by, what was it, 3 or 4?
Yeah, they didn't look good against the
Falcons.
I know, and that was my lock of the week. We're going to get to the picks shortly. That was my lock, and I was super nervous because Atlanta was winning in the fourth quarter at Kansas City.
That was an insane finish. They were so lucky.
Yeah, and in Kansas City, they can win the close games. I think they've won like 8 straight 6-point or fewer wins. So they've won the touchdown games. If the difference is 6 points, they've covered the past year and a half. They know how to get the job done. Just like in the Super Bowl, they were down 10. They ended up winning by a few because they know how to close the game in the fourth quarter. That's a dangerous thing about this team is that they do have experience. They have the home field. Buffalo, they don't have the experience. Cleveland doesn't have the experience. Tennessee, they went up. They beat the 1 seed last year in Baltimore. So Tennessee, watch out for them. But if Tennessee loses and Colts win, Tennessee's out.
That would be insane with the run that they had this season for them to get knocked out by the Colts.
I know.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's all wide open. I mean, me as a Patriots fan, you as an Eagles fan, we don't have really a dog in the fight. We don't really have anybody that we can really root for this year. So it's wide open for us, which makes it fun. And everybody else. I mean, Tommy, you're watching. You're a Chargers fan. Chargers aren't in the playoffs either. So it's kind of wide open when it comes to the playoffs and who to root for. Will I root for Buffalo? Maybe. They just beat us 38-9, but they'd be a good story. Cleveland, I don't expect much from them because they haven't been in the playoffs in 18 years. And it's just a matter of, the Steelers. Tommy brought up the Steelers. They've lost 3 straight. They won last week. They came back and won against a very good Colts team. And they saved their season kind of with the mindset. If you lose 4 straight going into the playoffs,
that's a terrible look.
Right. So you can't lose 4 straight. You're resting your players this week. Imagine losing 5 straight after going 11-0. And then you just don't win the last month of the season and you limp into the playoffs. You had to get that win. And now you might knock out the Colts on that one too. Colts, that was a bad loss from them last week.
Oh, horrible.
24-7. And they
should not have lost that.
Right.
And they didn't deserve to win with that the way they played, but they should never lost that.
Right, exactly. And you look at, the schedule right here, it's all divisional games. They started doing that years ago with the last week of the season. It's all division. So AFC East plays AFC East, NFC East, stuff like that.
I like that. I like that format.
And it makes it interesting because you look at the other side. We haven't even talked NFC because Arizona at LA Rams. A few weeks ago, the Rams had a 99.9% chance of making the playoffs. Now, if they lose, they're out.
Well, you got to think Goff is out with that thumb.
Right.
That was it, a fractured thumb, I think, or something like that. So he's out for the season. So now you lost your only ability. You got nothing else. He was the one that made that team.
Right, exactly. And it's funny because you look at Goff. They have weapons. They beat Tampa Bay on Monday Night Football. Everybody's declaring, the Rams are going to go on a hot streak. They're Super Bowl contenders. Well, they've lost like 3 straight since then. And now they might miss the playoffs when they had almost a certainty to get in the playoffs.
And they were terrible teams that they played too. It wasn't even, they weren't playing the Packers or the Saints or anyone really relevant. They lost terrible games that they should not have lost.
Right. And now they have an opportunity. They're at home. They play the Arizona Cardinals, which Cardinals have firepower, and they're trying to get in the playoffs too. I believe the winner of that game goes to the playoffs. So the playoffs start now for Cardinals and Rams.
Right.
And that's at 4:30 Eastern on CBS. But I do think, though, that Rams, there's a lot of teams that need to get it right this week. And that's why this week's so important for a lot of potential playoff teams.
It's really exciting. There's so many games that matter this year instead of being such a, guaranteed playoff picture in the past few years. This is fun to watch.
Right, because I'm looking at the schedule right now. There's maybe 3 games that don't have any playoff implications. 1, 2, let's go 3 right there, and 4. I mean, okay, there's like 4 games that have 0 playoff implications, but there's 12 games that matter across the NFL. And that makes it exciting for us fans, especially fans that have NFL Red Zone. You can tune into those games. You can watch every score, see if the close games. Hopefully, they are close games and competitive because nobody likes a blowout. But we'll see what happens though going forward on Sunday. We will get to our picks a little bit later on, but you wanted to bring up a real quick point too. Before I forgot, the MVP. The MVP, I think, was a 2-man race between Mahomes and Rodgers. I think those are the 2 guys it'll come down to that. And I think Rodgers has a slight edge. What do you think?
He has the edge. He's got 6 out of 9 votes according to ESPN,
Yeah.
and because he has a higher passer rating, he has a higher completion rate, and he has most touchdowns in the league. Right. The only thing that Mahomes I think has over him that I saw was he's got more passing yards right now.
He's got more wins.
Wins, right?
Yep. But right now, both teams are with the 1 seed in each conference, Green Bay and Kansas City. But I think right now Rodgers has won 2 MVPs, 3 MVPs.
I think something like that.
Right. They both won a Super Bowl MVP. They both won a Super Bowl. So they're both playing on top of their game, even though Rodgers is like 15 years older than Mahomes, 14 years older.
And Mahomes is on track with this last game. All he needs is 260 yards, and he will surpass 5,000 yards this season.
Which I feel like he does that every year. Like he looks the ball around. He's got all the weapons. It's just insanity what Mahomes has been doing. And they're 14-1, and nobody's really talking about them. They're like, oh yeah, it's just Kansas City.
And he's not that far behind Rodgers in touchdowns. The only reason Rodgers has so many is because Adams just keeps pulling him in every single game.
I know.
And that's probably the biggest reason that he's got all that.
Yeah, I mean, Adams, if you have him on fantasy, he's got 17 touchdowns on the year? Something crazy.
I think it's a little bit more than that, but yeah, he's helped me out tremendously all season.
You have him on fantasy.
I'm so glad I had him.
That's great. It's a good signing, and it's a good pickup by any fantasy owners, and that's been really the second MVP on the Packers is Davante Adams.
And he's got less interceptions than Mahomes, and the only thing that Mahomes has over him is passing yards and rushing yards. Which the way I see it is they're pretty close. Less than 1,000 yards difference in passing yards, but that completion rate, the passer rating, the touchdowns, I think that trumps what Mahomes has. Plus, he has 1 less interceptions. This is over 15 games.
Right.
This didn't even include last week, and we have yet to see what comes about this week.
Yeah.
So actually, Mahomes might actually have already surpassed 5,000 yards already after last week, but I don't know what his stats were last week. So I don't know. I wouldn't be mad either way, but looking at the stats, I think Rodgers is going to pull out the MVP this year.
I think so too. I think Rodgers will get the nod, slightly over Mahomes. It's not all about wins. I know we usually talk wins and titles and all that, but when it comes to MVP, usually it's the stats that matter, and it's just performance. It's looking at Kansas City and it's looking at Green Bay, and it's like, all right, where would these teams be without the quarterbacks?
But here's a kicker though. What do you think about Josh Allen into the mix here?
I think he should be too.
Actually has very close to the same stats that both Mahomes and Rodgers are putting up.
Right.
Very close.
Oh yeah. No, Allen has done fantastic this year. And Tommy pointed out, is it the receivers around them, or is it just the quarterback's ability? And Rodgers and Mahomes both have tremendous ability. They're both running quarterbacks. They both can make plays on the run. They can, kind of like Josh Allen. You throw Josh Allen in the mix, those mobile quarterbacks, they're the new wave of quarterbacks. Rodgers has been doing it for 10 plus years, but with the receivers around him, like Mahomes has more weapons than Rodgers. And that's why I could easily see this being a Super Bowl preview with these two super quarterbacks going head to head in February with Mahomes and Rodgers. But I think a lot is going to have to go right because Rodgers chokes in the playoffs. He has 1 ring, and he's made 1 Super Bowl. I think this is a big year for Rodgers because if he wins on Sunday, he's the 1 seed, or Seattle or New Orleans has to lose too. But there's a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers. And I think even though he can win the MVPs in the regular season and put up the numbers like you said, I think he's got to win in the playoffs. Mahomes has won in the playoffs, and he's
To
I don't know.
answer his question, I think the receivers have a huge deal with that because I mean, you
Yeah,
put Philly's receivers in there or New England's in there, they would not have these numbers.
right.
So yes, Mahomes has incredible vision. I mean, he makes some incredible passes.
Right.
But what would that be if he didn't have Tyreek Hill over there?
Exactly.
How would Rodgers do if Adams wasn't there
That's true.
and some of your other receivers? I mean, they're not going to get those yardages. You
Right.
know, that's a huge thing to them. Rodgers wouldn't have all those touchdowns if Adams wasn't that good at catching.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a big, huge deal to have good receivers to make these MVP candidates,
Right.
which sometimes, I'd like to see someone else other than a quarterback make an MVP run
Yeah.
because
Me
I
too.
feel like it's always whoever the top quarterback is in the league that is running for MVP. But, like Tommy's question, where would they be without those receivers? Because they're not going to get any passing yards if no one catches it.
Right. Exactly.
Where's the recognition of all the receivers?
Yeah, and I think with the point about quarterbacks always being in the MVP, I mean, you can give the nod to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's had a
Oh my
fantastic year,
God, I know.
and he's just been running over people, almost 2,000 rushing yards, and he's not going to get any consideration because he's a running back, which is too
And
bad.
he's also on Tennessee, which
Right.
doesn't, in general, aside from their, great run this year, isn't someone that would be like, oh, Tennessee, yeah, they're a great team. Like, no, no one thinks that.
No,
I
I
mean,
mean
they are great
Tennessee.
this year. They're doing really well.
Yeah.
But just because he's on Tennessee means he's not that good. But you put
Right.
him on the Packers, you put him on Kansas,
Yeah.
he's going to be, looked at a lot more than because of the
Right.
fact that he's on Tennessee.
Right. Absolutely. So it'll be interesting seeing, the MVP, seeing the comeback player of the year, which is probably going to be Alex Smith, but there could be others in the running. Rookie of the years, offense and defense. Those all come out within the next few weeks. Shifting gears, we do want to talk football, but we're going to do pick 'em a little bit in probably 10 or so minutes. With NCAA football, the playoffs are happening on New Year's Day. Alabama, Notre Dame, first matchup, and then you have Clemson, Ohio State. I I see two blowouts. I
I
don't
do
want to see
too.
two. I don't want to see that. I'm excited for the playoffs, but I see Alabama crushing Notre Dame, and I see Clemson crushing Ohio State.
I beg to differ on the Ohio State Clemson game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
Okay.
I don't think Ohio State's going to win, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's just going to be a mess of offensive powerhouses, and it's just going to be a slugfest. And
Right.
that's what it's just going to come down to who can stop the passing, who can stop the running. But the Alabama Notre Dame game, as much as I severely want to see Notre Dame beat Alabama,
Same.
actually,
Same
I'd
here.
rather see any team beat Alabama right now, so they don't go to the final.
Yep.
But yeah, that's gonna be a blowout. I'm rooting for Notre Dame,
Yeah. Same
and
here.
I don't like Ohio State, especially after this season. So I'm hoping Clemson wins it all again.
I think so too. I'm rooting for that same result. It begs the question though. So say Alabama beats Notre Dame and say Clemson beats Ohio State, then you have Alabama and Clemson again in the matchup in the college football playoff, whether semifinal or final. They've met 3 or 4 times prior to this,
Yeah.
and it just seems like they are the top 2 teams every year. The top recruits always go to those programs. It's the same old, same old. Does college football have a problem? Does college football with the not only playoff but with recruiting, with the top programs always winning after winning, is that good for the sport?
No, it is terrible for the sport because now it's a business and it's a money game. It's not based off of talent. Not to say that there isn't talent there, because obviously some of the best players in the NFL have come out of those programs. So it's not to say that there's no talent there, but that's where the only talent is.
Right.
And it sucks to see, and this we've talked about this so many times for all of our shows, that the college football is a broken system, and we saw that with Ohio State. It's a money game, It's all about the money. It's not about the players. It's not about, having a good time. And so if they would model it after college basketball in some form, I think that would leave it more open to different playoffs every year, different teams, and it'll allow other teams to get better recruiting and spread that talent out so that it's not Alabama every year. And, good on them if they continue to do that, if they were ever to change. But,
Right.
There's no reason that 4 to 5, maybe 6 teams are always in the college football playoffs every single year. You never see anybody. You don't see BYU. You don't see Cincinnati. Florida might make it in there every few years, but you never see anything different than Clemson, Alabama. For a while it was Georgia. You never see anything different than Ohio State, Clemson, and Alabama. It's just a terrible look. They're going to lose viewership, and then they're going to lose money and wonder why they're losing money when they bring in the best teams every year.
Right. And Tommy brings up a good point. Should college athletes get paid? Like you said, it's a business. There's plenty of money to pay the players. But at the same time, the college athletes, they are getting scholarships. They are getting free education. Are they getting paid that way? That's always up for debate. Based on, for years, people have been having this issue. Should they get paid?
Here's a comparison that I think relates to this, is the fact that you shouldn't pay them like the NFL. They shouldn't get a paycheck every week or whatever it is. It's college. Right. Every other sport is going to be like, oh, well, the football players get paid. Why can't we get paid? So to bypass that, just allow them to make money outside. What's the difference between some kid going to college and getting a part-time job or maybe even full-time,
exactly.
And making his money so he can pay for school because he didn't get that scholarship because he's not playing football, but he's playing some other sport that he didn't get a scholarship for because he was just a walk-on. What's the difference between him going out and making money at a job versus some other guy going, that's got a scholarship that went and got a modeling job for, Nike or something and got paid for him? What's the difference between the kid going to work at, Target or something as a part-time job versus somebody that just so happened to be good enough to be, a model on a commercial?
Right.
Obviously one pays a lot more, but I don't get the problem with outside money. Yeah. You're not paying them for their playing, right. It's just another job.
It's a tough subject to talk about because you can see both sides. And I think, but college football, going back to just the football aspect, because basketball seems to have it figured out, it's a little more easier for them to have 68 teams in a tournament compared to college football. But at the same time, to expand the playoffs, to have different teams, people like seeing those different teams. And especially you think about the kids that get to play on Cincinnati, on Oklahoma, those teams who competed this year and finished high, Florida. I mean, they have the big deals. The SEC, they usually play on CBS. They have these big, networks to show these games. But like the Coastal Carolinas, like the Cincinnatis, the smaller schools who the kids would just love to be on national TV, is a good opportunity for a college football playoff, and they won't get that opportunity.
That's why I just said the top 10 conferences, they pull out a team.
Right.
Just like the NFL, the top team or two in each conference goes on to the playoffs. Like, yep. I don't understand how hard that is to just do that, stop with the whole voting aspect, and just, if you're the top team, you're the top team, you get to go play. And not, stop this whole like, oh, well, they played all these other teams, so they deserve to go in, and this team doesn't deserve to go in, even though they actually played really good teams, beat all of them, and all this other BS that the panelists, decide over.
Right.
I mean, I don't see why they just don't do that. They don't have to expand it that much. 8 to 10 teams, one from each conference.
Yep.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to all the fans, but unfortunately, we don't really
doesn't make enough money for them.
It's a matter of the committees and about the different conferences that make it up, and hopefully they get this resolved because college football could be a lot better. I know we don't have a team really to root for, whether you're in Idaho or we're in
I mean,
Massachusetts.
I kind of do because Boise State is actually pretty good.
Boise State, to be fair, yep. But for Massachusetts, Boston College hasn't been relevant in a while since Matt Ryan days, and
True.
it's to look at the Northeast. UConn's not really good at football. Boston College, UMass. I mean, all these D1 schools that just aren't living up to expectations. So we have to look at SEC. We have to look at Pac-12, different stuff like that for good teams that we know are going to be in it. Alabama, Florida. We're not gonna really root for teams at the bottom of conferences near us because they're not going to get the exposure anyways on TV.
Right.
But I do want to segue though into some hockey. And Sam, my cousin Sam Shields actually commented. Just tune in. Don't know if you talked about Chara to the Caps. And actually, Sam, that was in our script because we actually saw that Chara a few minutes before we went live. That Chara, Zdeno Chara, the captain of the Bruins, he's been on the team since 2006. He is going to the Washington Capitals, which is very surprising.
That's a big move.
Yeah, and they need the leadership. He's joining up with Ovechkin. He's been a great leader for us. I have Chara's jersey, in my closet, and I've been a huge Chara fan for years. And he helped us bring a Stanley Cup 2011. We got to the Cup Finals 2013 and 2019. No, 2018. I'm sorry. And it's just a matter of no, was it 2019? When did we lose to the Blues? I think 2019.
I think so.
So just the whole sports calendar got thrown off this year because of COVID. But to go 1-2, but to get that ring, to get that cup in 2011, Game 7 at Vancouver, that's a series that Bruins fans will never forget. I mean, just that entire run. They beat your Flyers on the way to the cup.
I'm still mad about that. They should have won that.
But it's cool that Chara gets to go to a place. Capitals will be in the running for a cup this year, and he gets to play with one of the greats in Ovechkin. We wish him all the best. Yeah, I mean, we had him 14 years. I mean, his number's gonna be up in the rafters, I'm sure. 33. He wore the C. Now it's gonna be Bergeron probably with the C, or Marchand. And Marchand and Bergeron are the captains now of the Bruins, officially with Chara gone. And Chara's 40-something years old too, so I can't be mad that he's left. Unfortunately, I wanted him to retire a Bruin, but I wish him all the best.
He could come back and retire as a Bruin right before he leaves.
Yep, that's very, very true. On another side note too, actually a lot of news with the Capitals. Lundqvist, the recent goalie that signed down in Washington, he actually just had open heart surgery.
Well, he's about to. He was getting scheduled to do it. But he is now out for the season right after getting signed, which is a huge deal to them, losing a top-name goalie. Not that it's a bad reason because, his complications over the years have led to this surgery. So it's good that he's getting that. I mean, he's getting up there. So it'd be good to see him continue on.
Right, absolutely. And it's a matter of hopefully he has a full recovery. He was great for the Rangers all these years.
Oh yeah.
And I think once he gets back on the ice, he'll be better than ever. I don't know, how old is Lundqvist? Do we know?
I think he said that he was 44.
Is he that
or something
old?
like? Yeah, he was pretty old. I was kind of surprised by it. And he looked like he had a lot of gray hair. It looked like he was in his 60s.
Yeah, just looked it up. He's 38 years old. He was drafted
38. Okay, I was a little off.
He's been in the league 20 years. He was drafted in 2000.
Well, he looks like he's in his 50s. It's crazy.
Well, all those hockey players. I mean, you see Jaromir Jagr playing for years. I mean, it's unbelievable the time frame that these players play into their 40s. I mean, you don't see this in any other sport.
No.
So it's hopefully he's back on the ice. He comes back. He can't retire like this. I don't want him to see it for a great career.
I don't think he's going to. I don't think he had any intention of it. I think he wasn't. I mean, I don't really know the backstory, but it just seems like he wasn't expecting this surgery, which is why he signed on with another team. So by signing with another team, I don't think that was him saying, yeah, I'm getting this open heart surgery. I'm done. it looks like he's sticking around for at least another season or two.
Good. And I hope he comes back well. I know Washington Capitals and their fans hope he comes back as well. And the Rangers. I mean, even though the Rangers don't have him anymore, for all the years he put in New York, I'm sure nothing but the best, and hopefully the surgery goes well for him. On a side note, real quick, Joe Arvison, we saw your comment. I think it's smart they did not re-sign Zdeno Chara, and I kind of agree with you. Chara looked slow on the ice last year. I love Chara. A lot of Bruins fans love Chara, but I think I think that it's a matter of moving on from Chara, and it hurts because a lot of greats, Mookie Betts, Zdeno Chara, Tom Brady, they've all left Boston this year. And 2020, 2 days left in 2020, and another great leaves the Boston area. But, Tommy, I laughed at your comment for hockey. What makes them old? They got the beard.
Because the gray hairs.
It's the gray hairs and the beard. They grow out those playoff beards like Donnelly's beard, and they play well into their 40s. I mean, I don't know what's in the water, but they continue to extend. Usually people were retiring at age 37, 38. Now it's 44, 45. It's unbelievable. But I digress from hockey. It's going to be a good season. We're going to season preview in a couple weeks because hockey's fastly approaching. But real quick, do we want to talk NBA? I know you haven't really followed NBA.
Maybe we should, due to time constraints, move on from NBA.
Yeah, I mean, not much for NBA, really. I just want to throw in my 2 cents real quick. Warriors look bad. They got to get it better. But it's early.
It's very early on.
First week of the season. Celtics are 2-2. I get it. We're 500. We're probably going to be at 500. Maybe
Philly's 3-1.
Philly, they're doing well. Milwaukee, they just dominated the Miami Heat last night, 29 3-pointers, which is an NBA record. And so it's still early. 2021 with the NBA season, it'll really start swinging once February hits. I'm sure we'll see who kind of separates from the pack. But we do want to take our attention back to the NFL. I have the NFL schedule. It's the last week of Pick'em. It's the last week of full schedule Pick'em, and it's sad because we've been doing
the last week for Joe to lose again.
What are the standings? I'm curious how bad I'm doing.
So obviously Johnny's way in last place, so that's he can't come back.
Yeah.
Then it's you in third place at 107.
Oh, I fell.
Nick at 109, and me 110.
Oh, so I'm only 3 back at you. Okay.
Yeah.
Only 3 back. So I got to make a move here. We're including playoffs, though, right?
I mean, we can if you want.
Yeah, let's include playoffs because
Okay.
I don't think we can catch up in the regular season, and we want to give Johnny a fair shot too to try to catch up.
Yeah, he's still not going to make it.
But Sunday, January 3rd, the only regular season weekend of the 2020 season in 2021.
And it's all on Sunday.
Yeah, all the games are
no
Sunday.
Thursday, no Saturday, no Monday.
Last week, the schedule was all over the place. Different games, different days. And like I said, usually the season wraps up before New Year's. So that's why I pointed out that we have actually early January football that matters. That's not playoffs. It's the last regular season, Sunday.
Right.
But let's move on. We got 16 matchups. We'll do these pretty quick because it's just the 2 of us. And Nick and Johnny will get their picks in as time goes on. If you guys want to play along at home too, you can do your picks just in the comments. And like Tommy, Joe Everson, Sam, whoever else is watching, people can comment, share, tell us when we're right or wrong. But first matchup, Dolphins at Bills. Tough
Interesting game.
There's a lot of good games this Sunday.
And there's a lot to play for a lot of these teams too. So
yep.
I think I'm going to take Buffalo over this. I think they got a lot going on with them. They want to get in the playoffs.
Buffalo or Miami?
That. What?
Buffalo's already in the playoffs.
No, I'm saying they want to. I meant to say they want to maintain it.
Oh, the momentum kind of thing.
Yeah,
momentum's a scary thing. Miami had a really good win last week against Vegas. Miami has to win, and they're in. Buffalo's already clinched a 2 or 3 seed, so I think I'm going to go Miami. I think Miami's going to. It's in Buffalo, but they got to get in. Buffalo's kind of secure. So but everyone's picking Bills. Joe,
Yeah.
Sam, Dave, Tommy, they're all picking Buffalo.
Yep.
So I'm on the island. Fine. Shocker. Next up, Baltimore at Cincy.
I think this is an easy one.
Yeah, Baltimore. Even though Cincy's won 2 straight. Let's
Yeah,
not
but they're not
knock
going to win against Baltimore. Even
Baltimore,
though Baltimore is
again.
kind of on the downhill,
Yeah.
they're still going to do it.
Baltimore needs win in their end. So Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Pittsburgh is resting Big Ben and other starters. Cleveland must win in their end.
I think Cleveland's got a lot, and I think they're going to chalk up their last week's loss, and I think they're going to come back a little bit better. Okay. And with Big Ben out, I don't think that Pittsburgh's really going to do much. So I'm going to go with Cleveland.
I really – what a Browns thing to do is to lose to the Jets and to a backup quarterback for Steelers in the last 2 weeks and miss the playoffs.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I think they want better than that.
Yeah. I wish Nick was here because Nick would give me a bunch of crap for this. I'll go Cleveland.
All right.
I'll give them their due. They haven't made the playoffs in 18 years. I'll go Cleveland. Next up, a game that does not matter. Minnesota at Detroit.
This is also a terrible game.
But
I still think Minnesota is going to pull off this one because Detroit's just – they don't have anything going for them.
Dalvin Cook is out. I guess his father passed away, and so he is going to be sitting this week. Dalvin Cook, rest in peace to Dalvin Cook's father. Minnesota and Detroit have nothing to play for. Detroit looked terrible against Tampa, and Minnesota, they were in playoff contention, and they have weapons. So I guess I'll go Minnesota.
Yeah.
Next up. New York Jets. I know. New York at New England.
I don't even know on this one.
You know what's funny is the Jets are the hotter team.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
And there's nothing to play for. It's a game that does not matter. I'm not used to this. Usually week 17 has mattered the past 20 years.
Who's going to just toss up those game winners? You know, who's going to be the one that actually tries?
This game is brutal. Are we favored? Are we like?
I don't.
That's the scary part. Are we even favored?
Let me see.
Oh man, I don't. I'm gonna go New England. I'm wearing New England.
New England's favored by 3.
By 3?
Yeah, -3.
I'm gonna go New England, but thank God the season's this year. This has been awful.
I don't know.
Pick the Jets. I dare you.
I really want to say it. I really do. But I think I'm just going to go with New England because I just don't – I can't bring myself to say the Jets right now.
So bad. Look at our comments. Jets, and I plead the 5th. Oh, brutal.
I still can't. I don't know.
You know what? 2020. I would I be surprised if the Jets beat us this week? No, I really wouldn't.
I really wouldn't either. They kind of have a little bit of a hot streak going on against some terrible teams. They beat Cleveland. I mean, they beat a 10-win team. That's true.
And Cleveland's a lot better than us. Oh God, what a terrible sentence for me to say.
Yeah, let's just move on.
You picked New England?
Yeah.
All
I
right.
don't like it.
Yeah. Next up, maybe the runner-up in the NFC East, Dallas at New York Giants.
I think I'm going to choose Dallas on this. They looked pretty good last week. They've been looking good the past couple weeks. Not great, but
I really want Giants only because if they win, they're 6-10, and they could potentially be in the playoffs at 6-10. They're the only team. Otherwise, they're 7-9. I would love to see a double-digit loss team be in the playoffs and host. And imagine this: if Giants win, they get the 4 seed. Tampa would be 5 seed. Brady at Giants, first round.
Jeez.
Nuts.
That's crazy.
I guess Dallas is the better team. They just beat up on your Eagles. I'll go Dallas.
I know.
I'll go Dallas. Fine. Next up, Atlanta at Tampa. I got Tampa.
Yeah, I got Tampa too. That's too easy.
Yep. Let's see. Green Bay at Chicago. Green Bay, they must win to get the 1 seed. Chicago must win to get in the playoffs.
Well, looking at Green Bay's play recently. I'm gonna take this as my +5.
For Green Bay?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's chancy. And it's -2 if you get it wrong.
That's true. Nick already
All
got a -2 last week.
I did?
Nick did.
What was his lock?
Cleveland.
That's fantastic.
I know, right?
I'll go. Oh man, this is actually a really good game, and I actually thought this game would be the primetime game at 8:20 on Sunday Night Football, but Fox probably doesn't want to get rid of it. I'll go Chicago, but I'm not feeling good about it. They've put up 30. They've put up 30 points in 4 straight games. They're doing okay. Next up, Vegas at Denver. Nothing to play for.
Nope. I think Vegas will. Denver just has not looked good all year.
Yeah, I'll go Vegas. I think Vegas.
At least Vegas has been decently on the upside with a few downers.
Vegas should have won last week. They played terribly the last minute of that game against Miami. Next up, Jacksonville at Indy. Now, Jacksonville only has 1 win on the year. They beat Indy week 1.
I don't think they'll do it again, though.
I don't think so either. I think Indy wins.
Me too.
So we're same team on that one. LA Chargers at I should say LA Tommies at Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, when you put it that way, it's Kansas.
I don't know how many starters are going to sit for KC, and Chargers play them tough, but I still got to go KC.
I think they're still going to play everybody.
Yeah, I still got to go KC because they have a bye week too, so I can't see KC sitting out for 3 weeks.
No.
Until divisional matchup. This game has a lot of implications coming up. Arizona at LA Rams.
I think Arizona is with Goff being out. I don't think they're going to make it.
Oh, Joe Iverson just said no Mahomes. So, no, I'm still gonna stay with KC though. Who's their backup?
I think so too.
Chase Daniel.
I have no idea.
Who's Chase Daniel? I'm gonna go Arizona at LA. I'm gonna go. It's a battle of the backups. I think Kyler Murray's out this week too.
Is he?
Yeah.
I still think Arizona though, because Goff is everything for the Rams. And I think the Rams have something to play for, don't they? Or they
both. So winner.
Yeah. So it's going to be a battle, and I don't think the Rams are going to do it. So Arizona for me.
I think I'm going to pick Rams because of their defense. I think they still have Aaron Donald. I think they still have Jalen Ramsey. They have weapons on defense, and they're at home. I think I'm going to go LA Rams. I'm not feeling confident. Chad Henne. Chad Henne is a quarterback. Yikes. Maybe I will change. Let's see. LA at Justin Herbert versus Chad Henne. I'll stay with
Kansas.
I'll stay with. I need to chase you. You're ahead of me in the standings, so I got to catch up to now. Kyler is questionable. All right, so it might be battle of the backups for Arizona at LA. I think I got LA though. Next up, Seattle at San Fran. I don't think much to play for in this game. Seattle, I think, has an outside chance at the 1 seed. So
yeah, but they're going to still be in it no matter what. I think. I don't think they haven't.
I think I got Seattle though.
I think so too.
I got Seattle. Next up, New Orleans Saints at Carolina Panthers.
Definitely New Orleans.
Yeah, I got Saints.
Because even with their backup, they're still going to win.
Yeah. Next up, Tennessee at Houston. Tennessee clinches the division with a win, and Houston can play spoiler.
I still think Tennessee is going to do that. I don't think Derrick Henry is going to slow down.
Houston had that motivational speech from J.J. Watt. They're like, "Hey, fans pay for this. I mean, we have been terrible."
True.
I can see Houston. They always put up a fight, but they're not very good. I'm gonna go on my upset here. I'm gonna go Houston.
Houston, all right.
Yeah, because I think I want some chaos in the last week. So, and finally, the Washington football team at the Philadelphia Donnellys.
Yeah. I don't know.
You want spoiler?
Kind of do, but I don't think Philly's going to show up.
They're at home. Who do you trust more, Alex Smith or Jalen Hurts?
Hurts.
Do you pick Philly?
Yeah, that's the only problem is though I don't know about their defense. I don't know. I'll go with Philly.
I'll go. I want to call the tie, but I'm not going to because that would really cause chaos in the NFC.
Oh my God.
I'll go.
Another
I'll go
tie.
Washington. I'll go Washington. They're fighting for something.
Okay.
They're playing for a playoff spot. Gotta give them momentum. But those are our picks. We're probably wrong on a lot of them. Who knows?
Yep. Like usual.
We'll play out.
If this was a graded thing, we'd all be failing right now. We're all just above 500, but below 600.
We're like the Jeff Fishers of Pick'em.
Yeah.
We're floating around 500. We're not very good though.
Right.
Okay. Those are our Pick'em. We're going to get Donnelly. No, we're not going to get Donnelly's picks. We're going to get the other John's picks, Redmond's, and we're going to get Nick's picks at some point. Thank you for playing along, Joe Arvison, Tommy, Sam. Appreciate the picks. We have 5 viewers right now. That's a career high for today.
Right.
Spread the page, share the page, like the page, comment the page. You guys can all be on it too. Shoot us a personal message. We will try to get people on the show because Johnny and Nick have new jobs, and so we have free spots on the show.
Lots of free spots.
Yep.
Not really.
You get a spot. You get a spot. We are Oprah here. We're giving away spots. Anybody, and it's the season of giving. Anybody want to be on the show? Please let us know. But now it's time for final thoughts. We usually do brackets. It's only the two of us. I don't think brackets will be very fun. That's why we need more people as well. But Donnelly, do you want to go first or second on final thoughts?
Mine's gonna be short. I'm excited for the Eagles next year. Not so much for whether they do good or bad, but just to see what happens with the quarterback situation. I think it'll be fun and interesting. I'm very indifferent on the subject matter right now, but I think it'll be an interesting and an enjoyable ride to see what Philly does and how badly they screw up in the draft for the 45th season in a row.
Yeah, I mean, the draft will be interesting. The offseason will be interesting. Now that's week 17 and football is wrapping up. I am very sad that football is wrapping up. I cannot believe that the NFL got a full 17-week schedule with COVID. With all the changes with COVID, Tuesday games, Wednesday games, whatever, Monday, 2 games on Monday. It's been craziness. And the NFL, full steam ahead. They've gotten all their games in. There's no week 18. Props to them. The NBA, full swing. The MLB, spring training, probably in a couple months. And hockey. We talked hockey this show. It's good to have hockey back.
Oh, yeah.
But we've done this 27 episodes, which is crazy, ever since COVID started. And we just want to appreciate you, the fans, for watching, commenting. It's been a lot of fun. 2020 is wrapping up. Everyone's looking forward to 2021 for multiple reasons. But to continue with 2020, with 2021, to stay safe, to stay healthy. Joe Arvison can't wait for hockey. And there's a lot to look forward to in 2021.
Yeah.
Whether it is health related, whether it's sports related, whether it's whatever, it's going to be our year. We're going to continue to do Sports Take, whether it's me and John or everybody else. And we're trying to get new cast of characters on the show. We're going to keep improving the show, share the page, like I said, for it to grow. This is only year 1, and hopefully it continues a lot more down the road. Donnelly, you have anything else to say for 2020?
I can't wait for 2021.
Is your beard going to be a lot longer in 2021?
Well, let's hope for it. I'm not going to stop.
Because here's the thing. So your beard is up to the Marines.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess by the end of 2021, your beard is going to be past the bottom of your screen.
Probably. I can see that.
All right. There's my bold prediction for 2020 for Donnelly's beard. But for tonight, though, keep watching sports. Stay healthy. Everyone have a good New Year's. And we cannot wait to talk more sports with you guys in 2021.
It's going to be a fun ride.
It's going to be fun. It'll be fun. For Donnelly, for myself, and for Nick and Johnny, who couldn't be here, because they are normally here. Nick will be putting up the show later on, and Johnny will do his thing. we want to thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys. Bold prediction: he shaves off the beard.
Wow, that's not going to happen.
And my cousin said I'd like to see him use it as a jump rope.
Interesting take on
a
that.
segment though on the show, something with your beard.
Yeah, we'll think of something someday.
We gotta have some good ideas because otherwise people are gonna stop watching. And
Right.
you guys love us. You guys love us too much. So we'll try to do better next year. And keep watching sports and keep safe, keep healthy. See you guys next year.
See ya.
Bye everybody.